The abandoned theme park, Tyler's nightmare ride. Once there was a TikTok user named Tyler, who loved nothing more than filming himself exploring abandoned places. One day, he heard about an abandoned theme park on the outskirts of town, and he knew he had to check it out. He gathered a group of friends and set out to explore the abandoned park. As soon as they arrived, they were greeted by the dilapidated remains of the park. The roller coasters were rusted and overgrown with weeds, and the rides were covered in graffiti. They started filming themselves exploring the park and having fun, but as the sun began to set, strange things started to happen. They heard strange noises coming from the abandoned rides and saw shadows moving in the corners of their eyes. They tried to ignore it, thinking it was just the wind, but the feeling of being watched only intensified. As they explored the park, they stumbled upon an old haunted house ride. It was in the worst condition out of all the rides, and it looked like it hadn't been used in years. They decided to film themselves going through the ride, and as soon as they entered, the door closed behind them and the ride started moving on its own. The ride was unlike anything they had ever experienced before. It was a terrifying and a never-ending nightmare. They were trapped inside the ride, and no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't escape. They screamed for help, but no one was there to hear them. After what felt like hours, the ride finally came to a stop and the door opened. They stumbled out of the ride, shaken and traumatized. They deleted all the footage from the haunted house ride and never spoke of it again. But they never forgot the terror they experienced that day. The moral of the story is to never underestimate the dangers of abandoned places and to always be aware of your surroundings. It's not just the physical dangers you have to worry about, but also the unseen forces that may be lurking within. The Haunted Mansion, Blondi's Night of Terror. There once was a popular TikTok influencer named Blondi who had a huge following. She would post videos of her daily life, fashion, and makeup tutorials. One day, she decided to do a series of TikToks in an abandoned building that was said to be cursed and haunted. Emily and her friends went to the building on a Friday night, unaware of the danger that lay ahead. They filmed themselves exploring the abandoned building, making jokes about ghosts and spirits. But as the night went on, strange things started to happen. They heard strange noises, saw shadows moving in the corners of the rooms, and even their phones started to malfunction. They ignored the strange occurrences, thinking it was all just part of the fun. But things took a turn for the worse when they found a hidden room. Inside the room, they found a Ouija board, which they decided to use for a TikTok video. They summoned a spirit, and that's when things got really spooky. The spirit they summoned was not friendly. It was angry and malevolent. It began to move the plankette on the board, spelling out warnings for them to leave the building. But they didn't listen and continued filming. After they left the building, strange things continued to happen to them. They started to experience terrifying nightmares and strange occurrences in their daily lives. They soon realized that the spirit they summoned was still with them, and it was out for revenge. Emily deleted all the TikToks from the abandoned building, but it was too late. The damage had been done, and the spirit was still with them. From that day on, Emily and her friends were never the same again. They were followed by the spirit wherever they went, and it haunted them for the rest of their lives. The moral of the story is to never mess with the dead, and to always respect the spirits of the dead. You never know what kind of consequences it might bring. Trapped in the asylum, Samantha's final TikTok. There was once a TikTok user named Samantha who was always on the lookout for the next viral trend. She would film herself doing all sorts of challenges, but her favorite was filming herself in abandoned places. She loved the thrill of exploring abandoned buildings and the eerie feeling it gave her. One day, Samantha stumbled upon an old abandoned insane asylum. She had heard rumors that it was haunted, but she didn't believe in ghosts and decided to film herself exploring the building. She started filming herself walking through the dark, musty hallways, and as she explored deeper into the building, strange things began to happen. Her phone's battery started to drain faster than usual and her flashlight flickered. Samantha shrugged it off as a technical glitch and continued filming. She explored the different rooms, and as she was filming in one of the patient rooms, she felt a cold breeze and heard faint whispering. She quickly turned around and saw a ghostly figure standing at the end of the hallway. Samantha was terrified, but she didn't want to leave without getting the footage. She followed the figure deeper into the asylum, and as she got closer, she realized it was a patient who had died in the asylum many years ago. The patient's ghost was warning her to leave, but Samantha didn't listen. As she reached the end of the hallway, the ghostly patient vanished, and the door to the basement opened. Samantha, not thinking about the danger, decided to film herself in the basement. As soon as she entered the basement, the door slammed shut behind her, trapping her inside. She screamed for help, but no one was there to hear her. Samantha never returned from the abandoned insane asylum. Her phone and camera were found in the basement with the footage of the ghostly patient still on it. The footage was never released to the public, but it was said that whoever watches it would feel a chill down their spine, and some even say that they could hear the screams of Samantha in the background.